Good afternoon, guys, and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. I do not have a haul video for you guys today. That will be, all of the haul videos will be in tomorrow's vlog because we didn't end up going to the grocery stores today. My dad actually ended up coming home and he was like, so do you want to just go to all the grocery stores tomorrow? And I was like, I guess. I don't know, my dad seems really tired because he came home and they have football practice, so we were only going to go to 2 of the stores anyway, and so we when he came home, he actually was like, you want to just go tomorrow? And I was like, okay, I guess. Like, we're gonna just go to all 5 stores tomorrow, which is kind of winds up taking a long time, but anyways, yeah, then at least it'll all just be over and done with in one day. And won't have to worry about anything else. But again, he came home and was like, yeah, do you want to do that? And I was like, okay, sure. So we ended up, I ended up actually just working on, again, my master Aldi list that I'm probably closer to halfway done now. I didn't spend a whole ton of time on it. Me and my mom also watched a couple of episodes of a show. I think I was telling you guys we watched it last week. It's called Hometown, I think. It's sort of like that the Fixer Upper show. I think that was what it was called on HGTV. But we watched it last Friday too. Well, like all the boys were out at football. So anyway, so when my dad came back between football and the time he came home from work, he took a nap and then he went to bed kind of early when he got back from football too. So I feel like he was tired. That's why I didn't want to go to the grocery stores. And one of the reasons too, though, was that we were going on Fridays was to go to Caputo's so that we could get the pizzas. But my mom made dinner and she wants to make dinners like over, you know, the weekend, Friday through Sunday. So because of that, we don't have to go to the grocery store on Friday to make sure we get those pizzas from Caputo's. So we can just go on Saturday, you know, to all the stores, I guess. It was just, we were going to Caputo's on Friday so that we could get those, again, the pizzas, but then also too, so that, you know, we could break up a little bit of the shopping. But I mean, the thing that does kind of stink is that, like, Jewel, Aldi, Valley Produce, and Caputo's, they're all right in the same area. So the fact that, like, we drive out there once on Friday, and it's not real close to us. I mean, it's a tiny bit of a drive. The fact that we drive out there and then come back on Friday just to drive out there again on Saturday morning and drive back kind of defeats the purpose of like trying to make it shorter and everything like that, because I feel like driving wise we kind of waste more time, whereas if we're out there in the same area doing it all at once, we're saving money on gas, we're, you know, saving our time too, instead of having to load up, get in the car on a Friday, go out to 2 stores, come back, load up again on Saturday morning, go out to 3 stores, you know, to the other 2 plus Menards, and then come back home. So yeah, it makes like a little bit more sense, but just because of that pizza deal on Fridays at Caputo's was why we were normally going. And then again too, because, you know, sometimes it can wind up, when we are doing all 5 grocery stores, can take a long time on a Saturday. So if we can break it up and do a little bit at least on Friday, you know, that does help out a bit. But anyways, so what we would do though was we would do like Jewel, Valley Produce, and Caputo's, and then we would on Friday come back and sometimes do our Aldi and Menards then on Saturday morning, so it wasn't as much. But also too, because of the timing for football, they moved it up an hour. Before it was at 7, now they moved it up to being at 6 o'clock. So we only have, like, my dad got home maybe around 2:45 or 2:30, close to 3 o'clock maybe. So we only have a couple hours in there anyway, and, you know, they leave by about 5:30 or so. So you know, we don't have all the time in the world to try and get that stuff done. So it just, you know, I think this will work out a little bit better, but that's why I don't have a haul for you guys. Sorry for the super long explanation. I will have all of the stores most likely in tomorrow's vlog. But as I was telling you guys, I got to laundry today, a handful of other things. My mom actually did dishes for me today. The other thing too, guys, that I have been doing recently, well, not recently, today, was actually, well, it's funny. My mom was actually, we were helping, well, me and her, I guess, both were kind of helping Jack with the little school thing that he was doing. And then my mom was talking about like, oh, when I was in school, she was like, she took German, because I guess Jack was talking about, it wasn't what he had to work on, but he was talking about Spanish because he's taking Spanish this year. My mom was talking about German, and these like little, she said they were from the 50s in black and white. They used to watch them on like the old school, like the reels and everything like that, and that they were like recorded back then, and they were basically like, she actually told Jack to look it up and find it on YouTube so that we could watch it. And it was basically like tourists and stuff like that in Germany trying to communicate and stuff like that, and you know, like, so you could pick up on the words, you know, it's like an educational video, so you could pick up on the words. And she was like, it always consisted of some tourists not knowing how to get somewhere, and they were trying to ask for directions, or, you know, they were trying to ask where to use the bathroom, or, you know, where the closest bathroom is, or where the water is, and, you know, whatever. And so we were watching part of that, and I was like, you know, my mom is actually not fluent in German, but she definitely, for only taking 2 years of German, knows a lot and has retained a lot of the information too, also for not using it regularly. Aunt's husband, he was actually in Germany in World War II. He got stuck there with his mom and his sister. They were visiting his grandma in Germany during World War II, and they actually got stuck there, and they couldn't get back to the United States. And so he was actually like, you know, kind of like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, got sent off to the countryside to go and live with like a family out there, like the kids were doing in Germany, I guess, during that time. At least this is from my understanding of the story. But he's completely fluent in German. I guess him and his sister speak in German a lot. I never, like, when she would come to family parties and stuff like that too. And so, but I never remember hearing them, you know, speak German and stuff like that. And then my mom even said too, that his parents, they were like, when they were older in a nursing home, I guess, and maybe just the mom, like his mom, my mom used to go and actually visit them, because my aunt, my grandma's sister, would take my mom and like her 2 kids sometimes to go and visit and stuff like that. And so and she, I guess, really only spoke German, so my mom was around, you know, German speaking people, I guess, but, you know, this was again when she was little. She didn't pick up on it a whole ton. And then my great grandfather, my mom's grandpa, was also German, but like pretty much full German generations back. And as far as I know though, he didn't like speak German that much around, you know, like family or anything like that. Like he had a brother, but, you know, like they weren't, I don't know, they didn't, I guess, speak it, at least from my understanding, all that often either. So like my mom wasn't like raised with, you know, people that spoke, you know, German was their second language, or, you know, or even first language or anything like that. And most of the people that she was even raised by that did speak German, that wasn't necessarily their first language, or they didn't speak it, you know, like consistently, I guess. Again, my mom is almost semi, you know, not fluent, but she can understand. Like she was watching some documentary, and they were talking to somebody in German, and obviously had the subtitles up, but she was listening from the other room. I think she was in the kitchen, and like it was on, and she was like, oh, they said something about this, this, and this. And then I was like, really, you understood that? I was like, you didn't even read the subtitles, but I was in the room, and so I actually was seeing it, and I was like, you were right. How is that? Like, you know, so like she can completely understand and comprehend what people are saying in German, and again can speak it enough to probably get by with having somewhat of a conversation. And so I thought that was really cool. But again, she never uses it. She never, like, every once in a while she might like say, you know, like something in German, you know, just like kind of, I guess, to impress us, you know, that like, oh, that means this or something like that. So she was just, you know, like talking about it, and how, like, again, she still has some memory and recollection and knows, again, enough about it. That again, I think that for taking only 2 years of a language that you can still like understand it and somewhat speak it is kind of pretty cool. You know, like Matthew took 2, maybe 3 years of Spanish, and honestly, I don't really know how much he still remembers or retains or anything like that. So what I actually ended up doing today was I originally got my iPad out because I had Duolingo on my iPad. I'd never downloaded it on my phone. I thought it was only an app that you can only do it like through an app, like a phone or tablet or whatever. I guess you can actually do it just on the plain old internet, which is pretty cool. You know, on a you know, PC, Mac, laptop, or whatever. And so I was doing that today, and I decided that I was going to try and learn some German, because the thing was that for a while I was actually really committed to learning Spanish. The only problem was that I didn't have anybody to sort of bounce it off of. And so, you know, like today especially, I was having the hardest time, and I still am, with the word I. And in German, and I cannot get the pronunciation, I feel like, correct. And it's been really frustrating me. So my mom, though, since she knows it, can keep correcting me and the way I'm, you know, like making sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. And it is kind of weird though, because even some of the times between the two different, like the male and the female version on Duolingo, because they have it in a different, like the tip section is the male voice, but then in the actual like lesson is the female. So even between that, it sounds a little bit different. Or if you go to like Google Translate, the voice sounds a little, like, you know, the pronunciation sounds a tiny bit different. And even the way my mom was sort of saying it, so it's like hard, but like I feel like I can't get it right. But it's helpful though, because again, if I'm not saying something exactly correct, she can sort of, like, she was sort of helping me out and actually with my pronunciation of some of the words. And it was really helpful too. And she was like, oh, you say it more like this, you know, or something like that, to again help me with that. So, you know, some of the Spanish words, which again, I got pretty far into the Spanish lesson, but I probably, other than like some like main words, I cannot remember all of the little words. And I feel like that's one of the things that, like, you know, you retain over a period of time. Like I and what were the other ones I was learning today? R, A, those type of ones. You know, just like those little words that you sprinkle in a sentence somewhere. You know, like I said, the smaller words are ones that, you know, and like pronouns and stuff like that are some of the ones that I feel like I need the most help with, and help like retaining. And once I think I get it and remember it, it will be the easiest part of the whole thing, which is why I think they start you out with that. But like the bigger words, like I've already learned what man and woman and child and girl and boy is, and I will probably remember them weeks from now. I've already started forgetting what, you know, R is and stuff like that. And so yeah, that's, like I said, it's just gonna take like that repetition and stuff like that to actually get into it. But I actually think that I'm going to hopefully stick with this for a while, and because my mom is there and can encourage me and again hold me more accountable than if I was just doing it on my own, I think it's kind of cool. My dad really wants to learn Polish because we're also Polish as well, and so you know, that's one of the things that he's been really wanting to, and I know that they have that on Duolingo as well. I clearly do not want to try and do 2 languages at once, but that would be something that I would probably do like with my dad, because he really, his grandma spoke it, and so again, he would maybe be able to say like some words. He can again say like good morning and stuff like that, but not nearly as much as my mom knows of German. You know, so he again can say a good amount of things, but really hardly, you know, not much more than maybe like an average person that has taken maybe a year of Polish classes, you know, would know. And so, yeah, but that's why I was like, these actually seem like 2 languages that I would probably, like Matthew and Jack both took Spanish. But again, I feel like for any language at all, it's if you don't use it, you're gonna forget it and you're not gonna use it, which is why I think it's really cool that my mom has only taken it for took it for 2 years, all the way back in high school, and has still been able to have enough, to be able to retain it, and, doesn't, speak it to really anybody else either. Something fun that I kind of took up today was learning German. But yeah, so I think I'm going to take it a little bit further than like just doing the lessons. I'm going to actually like write note cards or post-it notes and try and get myself into the habit of like consistently seeing and saying the words and stuff like that, so I can get that, like stick post-it notes in places, or make like little flashcards for myself, like on note cards, and that type of thing. So the one thing that I think Duolingo is awesome, I know that when I first, like I don't know if it was when it first came out, but when I really first started using it back when I was still in high school, there was only honestly like maybe like 5 languages that you could pick from, and they also didn't originally have like German to English either. So if it was like the opposite, people that are not English speaking could learn a different language too, so or German to French or something like that. They originally didn't have it, was only English to whatever, and now it's you can learn the other languages from your native language as well, which they originally didn't have. So I think that's really awesome. I also really like too, I didn't realize they have I guess stories on there too, which are little like bonus things that you can kind of help to expand, like it's like a story about something, and you just sort of go back and forth and learn the words and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I sort of wish that it maybe had a little bit more of, so they have, I haven't actually finished the complete first, like the basics, which is just sort of like, I think basic pronouns and, that, I think, yeah, that was what it was. Again, and I think is, are, basic words. Those would be the adverbs. I'm trying to think what parts of speech. But then again too, there was also, they sprinkle in some like nouns and verbs and things. Maybe we didn't do verbs even yet. I think just nouns. Like man, woman, child, girl, boy, like I was saying. I haven't actually completely finished that list. There's like 3 parts to like the whole section. I finished 2 of them, just because, again, that was then Matthew came home, and I was like, okay, spend some time with him, because he came home for football and everything, and we ate dinner and all that. But I don't know if there's like review that you can go back over, because the like little parts seem so short. I really want to, like, again, I wish there was more of a like repetitive, like let's keep going over this a couple more times, or even making them a little bit longer and stuff like that, because I feel like I just sort of blow past it, and then I'm like, yeah, I remembered this for like the 10 minutes I needed to finish this lesson, and then I sort of forget it, which was exactly how I felt like with Spanish when I was doing it through Duolingo. But again, I can't remember if there is like, you can go back and more do review and stuff like that. I know that there is like tips and stuff like that, so they like explain things to you a little bit more in like the pronunciation of the word and that kind of stuff, but I wish it dove in a little bit more into, like some of, again, that pronunciation, different types of stuff, or what certain sounds make, which they do tell you about in the tips, but I just sort of wish that it went in maybe a little bit more deeper. But for being a free program, it's an amazing way to learn a language, without literally just looking the words up on Google Translate and trying to do it all yourself. So it is, and it's very interactive and all that kind of stuff. And then too, because there's little, like fun little bonuses and things like that that you can complete, make you like, it's kind of that, like those endorphins, like once you've finished something, then you get a special little thing and it makes you feel good and all that kind of stuff. And so that little like, oh, I completed a level, or whatever. Now there's, happy little fireworks and everything like that. Makes you feel good that you did it. So, yeah, like I was saying, I am currently working on that now. I think that's going to be my thing that I'm going to be doing for a while, until I'm, hopefully pretty sound and being able to speak some words would be cool. But again, I feel like I don't want to build on you know, what I'm not confident in yet, if that makes sense. So like some of the, again, basic words that I'm really starting to grasp, but I don't want to move on too quickly and then have forgot what I learned already. But they do a really good job too also of telling you, you know, if you're moving along, and if you keep forgetting, again, a word that you learned in like the first, you know, the basics or whatever, you know, then it actually tells you your strength and when it thinks that you need to start reviewing that, because you keep forgetting it or you're using it out of context or, you know, something like that. So, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna do that, and then also to try and dive in a little bit more and do my own like studying and stuff like that to keep myself accountable in doing it. But it has been, like I said, really helpful, like to do the lessons actually with my mom, because I was like sitting out in the living room on my Mac and I was like, okay, let's do this together. You know, she was like working, and then she just hears the words and she's like, oh yeah, that means that, that, and that. I was like, okay, Mom, let me do the word lesson. You know, but for the most part, it's like, you know, it's very helpful, and too, if you get stuck on something, so that you can, you know, gain that knowledge and all that kind of stuff. But I just remember that, like, that was the one thing when I was doing Spanish, was that I would remember I did the first part and got really good and was really confident in it, and then I moved on to like the next, again, maybe I did like 3 or 4 lessons, or, you know, like the little bubbles or whatever it is, and I got, again, decently far, but then I was starting to forget everything that I learned at the beginning because I felt like I was moving on too fast. So I don't know how much, again, like review and other, like, you know, if you can go back and redo the lessons over again too, just to refresh yourself. But for me, that's something that I definitely feel like was something I needed when I tried to do it the first time in, you know, first language. So that's why too, now having somebody that can also hold me accountable and you know, can challenge me sort of in some of the words or letters, you know, even to like what, you know, sounds certain letters or letter pairs make and stuff like that. But it's weird too, because my mom will be like, oh, that word has something to do with that. Like, you know, for child, it's actually like basically kindergarten is like what German is Kinder, which is children, I think the plural of child. And so she was like, oh yeah, like that. She didn't actually even really know the single use of the word child, but then she was like, well yeah, because that's Kinder, which is, you know, so it's like past tense or present or, you know, whatever, and that kind of stuff, but also too like the prefix, suffix, that kind of stuff too, I think. You know, she can kind of like piece sometimes things together just based on like one word or one part of a word that, again, she can kind of use. And so, like I said, it's kind of amazing to me that some people, you know, take a language and can learn it pretty well and then completely forget it, and, you know, if you don't use it especially. But again, for somebody that hasn't been, it's kind of cool that she still knows most of it. So anyways, yeah guys, I have, like I said, probably talked a little while tonight, and I've done no German speaking. So anyways, I will see you all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.